be dealing with another complex tissue. Last class we have dealt with xylem. Today we will be dealing with the phloem. As xylem, phloem is also one of the complex tissues. It is also considered as one of the complex tissues of the plant material we studied earlier is xylem. Now it is phloem. Now what is the function of the phloem? As we said, xylem is the water conducting tissue and phloem will provide food material to the plant body. Now, who introduced the term? This is the main different alternative names of xylem, and what is the main function? Why we are studying about xylem? Because it is a tissue which will help in the supplying of the food material from the source organ, source cells to the target cell, or from the base leaf to the other different parts of the plant body. Now, it was in the year 1857. In the year 1857, an anatomist called as Hartig introduced the term or used the term or identified the tissue called as phloem, and he said that there is a tissue in the plant body in addition to xylem which are also helpful to the transfer of food material from the leaf to the different parts of the organs of the plant body. And the alternative names used for the phloem are these are bast or leptome. The alternative names used by the different anatomists to identify phloem are either it is a bast because it will be produce commercially important fibers. Next, leptome. The leptome word was used by an anatomist called as Haberland to identify or to indicate the phloic elements or the elements of the phloem, to indicate or to denote the different elements of the phloem which are present, like we can call it as what are the important elements of the phloem will be, it will be the sieve elements, right? Okay, next, the important cells of the phloem. What are the important components of the phloem? The important cells of the phloem are the sieve element. The major components or the elements which are present in the phloem are called the sievative elements. These are major components which play an important drastic role in the transportation of the food materials in the different parts of the plant body. Now, in addition to this, there are some specialized cells, or we can say specialized parenchyma cells, which are functionally important for the transport of food material. Now, what are those which are not there in xylem and which are only present in the phloem? Those are Campanian cells and albuminous cells. Now, these are the specialized parenchyma cells which are functionally very important for the transfer of food material. In addition to this, these phloem elements also have sclerites, you have resins, all these other elements are there which are helpful for the, or we can say we also have glandular tissues which help in the supply of the food material from the leaf organ or the from source organ to the target organ of the different parts of the plant body. Now, here as per the cell wall is concerned, cell wall in the we have seen that in xylem you have thick cell wall, but in case of phloem the cell wall is thin, and because of the as the cell wall is thin, the possibility of deposition or occurrence of phloem elements or phloem tissue in the fossils is very rare. In fossils, you will not see no deposition or no presence of So, in the fossils, because as the cell wall of the phloem is very thick, we will not be able to see the deposition or the presence of the phloem elements in the fossils which are there in the old versions. As we said, xylem we have introduced a terms called as primary xylem and secondary xylem. In the similar way, we are also having in the phloem you have a concept called as primary phloem and secondary phloem. Now what is primary phloem? These are the phloems which are initiating from the procambial initials, as in the case of this primary phloem initiates in the similar way as that of the primary xylem. This will occur at the initial stages at the procambial cells of the meristematic tissue from the embryonic stages or during the early stages of the growth. And whereas the secondary phloem is a type of tissue which is also developing from the procambium, but it will develop at the latter stages of the formation of the cambial cells, total matured, but the appearance of this secondary phloem will start its division or formation from the procambial cells only, but the appearance of the secondary phloem will occur at the time of the total maturity of the cambial cell is occurring. Total growth of cambial cell will occur, then you will see that there is an existence of secondary phloem. Okay. Now here this type is examples of secondary phloem are Chenopodiaceae family members. There are Amaranthaceae family members, Nyctaginaceae family members. Okay, now here there are different terms of the phloem, those are called as internal phloem and external phloem. Now what is internal phloem? This type of phloem is present in all the stem arrangement. If the phloem is lying, internal phloem is a type of phloem if the phloem is lying towards the internal side of the xylem. If the tissue is lying towards internal side of the xylem, then that is called as the internal xylem. If the phloem is occurring towards the external side of the xylem, then that is called as external phloem. The examples of the external phloem, we can see maximum type of external phloem to the families belonging to Chenopodiaceae, Amaranthaceae and Nyctaginaceae. Now, if there is a case like in the arrangement of vascular bundle, if a vascular bundle arrangement shows both these types of arrangement of phloem, okay, if a vascular bundle, there are different types of vascular bundle, pectostele, actinostele, solenostele, all that. In that, if the vascular bundle shows the arrangement of both external and internal phloem, that is amphiploic xylem, amphiploic structure, then those types of vascular bundles are called as bicollateral vascular bundles. If a vascular bundle is showing xylem in the middle and internal phloem and outside phloem, both the internal and external phloem, then those types of vascular bundles are called as bicollateral vascular bundles. Now, normally where these bicollateral vascular bundles are seen, these are seen in the maximum families of Apocynaceae, in Cucurbitaceae. You can also see in the different families of the bicollateral vascular bundles are occurring in this section. Now there are different types of phloem called as now. In phloem, we also have different types of terminologies we use, different types of phloem, those are included phloem, concentric phloem and formunate phloem. If the phloem is lying towards the inner layer towards the inner side of the xylem, first phloem, then xylem, then that is called as included phloem. If it is there, first phloem will be there, next xylem will be there, then that is called as included phloem. If you are having concentric phloem, xylem will be inside and phloem layer will be external to the xylem, then that type is called as concentric phloem. If the phloem is occurring in the form of threads along with the xylem tissue, then those are called as thread-like phloem occurrence is called as formunate. So there are occurrence of phloem in three forms, possibilities, like included phloem. If it is occurring immediately before the xylem tissue or internal to the xylem tissue, it is called as included phloem. If it is occurring immediately outside the xylem or external to the xylem, outer layer, or you can say it is outer, forming a circle outside the xylem, then that is called as concentric phloem. If the phloem is occurring in the form of threads along with the xylem, then that is called as foraminate phloem. Okay. Now next, we are supposed to study about we said the important and the major components of phloem tissue is the sieve elements. Now what are the sieve elements, or what are the major different components which are present in the phloem tissue we will be studying.